Let's talk about the diplomatic dominoes falling in Europe, a series of events unfolding that could redefine international relations. We're seeing a shift in perspective, a ripple effect that started with individual nations re-evaluating their stance on critical global issues. Spain, Norway, and Ireland just recognized Palestine, making headlines and putting pressure on their Western peers. This move is not just symbolic, it's a clear signal of changing attitudes towards Palestinian statehood within the international community. Suddenly, all eyes are on Canada, caught between its traditional alliances and a growing international call for change. Canada's long-standing relationships with key Western allies are now being weighed against the increasing global support for Palestinian rights. The timing is critical, with the Gaza conflict intensifying demands for Palestinian statehood. The ongoing violence and humanitarian crisis in Gaza have amplified the urgency of finding a lasting solution and addressing the political status of Palestine. Supporters say recognition is urgent, a stand for dignity and a two-state solution. They argue that recognizing Palestine is a crucial step towards achieving a just and sustainable peace in the region, providing Palestinians with the right to self-determination. Canada now faces a choice: stick with the status quo and risk isolation, or make a bold move that could reshape its Middle East role. The debate is heating up, and Canadian diplomacy is being put to the test. This isn't just news, it's a defining moment for Canada on the world stage. The decisions made in Ottawa in the coming days and weeks will have far-reaching implications for Canada's foreign policy and its standing in the international community. So what does it mean to recognize a country? It's a question that delves into the heart of international relations and the very definition of statehood. What actions, declarations, or acknowledgements truly signify that one nation accepts another as a sovereign entity? It's not just a polite nod, a casual acknowledgement on the world stage. It's a formal act, a deliberate and considered decision that says, "You're a state, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails, and will treat you as one." This recognition carries significant weight in the international community. According to international law, a state needs territory, a defined geographical area over which it exercises control. A population, a group of people who reside within that territory and are subject to its laws, a government, an established political system capable of exercising authority and maintaining order, and, crucially, the ability to make deals with others, to engage in diplomatic relations and enter into agreements with other nations. Palestine's case is complicated, a situation fraught with historical and political complexities. Borders are disputed, subject to ongoing debate and negotiation, and its government is divided, reflecting internal political factions and external pressures. Recognition is ultimately a political decision, influenced by a nation's strategic interests and values, not solely a legal one based on strict adherence to international law. For Palestine, recognition means the potential for embassies, the establishment of formal diplomatic missions around the world, treaties, the ability to enter into binding agreements with other states, and a seat at the table, a voice in international forums where global issues are debated and decided. It's a symbolic and practical win, opening doors to international bodies and agreements, granting access to resources and opportunities that would otherwise be unavailable. There's no global rulebook dictating when and how a country must be recognized. Recognition is fundamentally about political will, a reflection of a nation's foreign policy priorities. Supporters argue it levels the playing field, creating a more equitable environment for negotiations and interactions on the international stage, and affirms Palestinians' right to self-determination, the right to freely determine their political status, and pursue their economic, social, and cultural development, regardless of stalled peace talks. Ultimately, it's about making statehood the goal, a tangible objective to strive for, not just the process, a series of negotiations and agreements that may or may not lead to a resolution. Canada's official stance: support for a two-state solution, through direct negotiations, not unilateral moves. But with peace talks frozen, that position is looking shaky. European countries argue waiting has failed, giving Israel a de facto veto. The debate in Canada is now a direct challenge to this old policy. Trudeau's government is trying to balance frustration with Israel's actions and loyalty to the US, which opposes recognition. It's a diplomatic tightrope, and the pressure is mounting. Inside Canada, the debate surrounding the recognition of a Palestinian state is fierce, complex, and deeply divided. It's a conversation happening in Parliament, in community centers, and around dinner tables across the nation. Supporters, including unions, various human rights groups, and significant portions of the Arab and Muslim communities, are vocal in their advocacy. They believe that recognition is not just a moral imperative, but also a political necessity that Canada can no longer ignore. They see it as a crucial step towards justice and self-determination for the Palestinian people. They argue Canada's current wait-and-see approach has demonstrably failed to yield positive results, and that official recognition could in fact help revive the long-dormant two-state solution, injecting new momentum into stalled peace negotiations. However, opponents, which include prominent Jewish organizations and members of the Conservative Party, raise serious concerns. They warn that such a move is premature, potentially counterproductive, and could ultimately undermine the already fragile prospects for lasting peace in the region. Their core argument is that statehood should be the result of direct negotiations between the involved parties, not granted as a reward or a unilateral concession in the absence of meaningful progress and concrete commitments. There's also significant concern and debate over which Palestinian Authority Canada would be implicitly recognizing through such a decision, particularly given the ongoing and deeply entrenched political split between the West Bank and Gaza and the implications of dealing with Hamas. Furthermore, critics express the fear that recognition at this juncture could embolden extremist elements and ultimately pose a greater threat to Israel's long-term security and regional stability. Both sides of this passionate debate firmly believe that the stakes are nothing less than the future of peace and security in the Middle East, and Canada's role in shaping that future. You might wonder, does Canada's decision really matter globally? Absolutely. As a respected middle power, Canada's move would send shockwaves through the Western Alliance. Recognition would add a major North American voice to the push for Palestinian statehood, possibly triggering a domino effect. It would strain ties with the US and Israel, but also signal a shift in global consensus. The world's reactions would be sharply divided, celebrated by Palestinians, condemned by Israel and the US. This is about more than borders. It's a test of international law, self-determination, and the two-state solution's future. Every country that recognizes Palestine strengthens its legitimacy. As Canada weighs its choice, the world is watching closely.